All right, Jacob, guess what? Time to start thinking about doing headers on a big block Mopar. Okay, next stage for the RAMCHARGER. Yeah. Let's go take a look at the headers first.
All right.
All right, Jacob. Here's the headers. We've already opened the box. And let's see. These are Flow Technology. Yeah, Flow Technology, Flowtech exhaust. And it's from Jegs. And we could not find these headers for a RAMCHARGER. We had to look for them for a Plymouth Trail Duster with a big block. Oh. You can find RAMCHARGER small block headers, but we had to find them for a Trail Duster. So the listing may be there, but we just didn't see it. So anyway, you hold this. And this is what we're going to go put on.
Sweet.
Let's go out here in the light.
Get out of this. Oh, shit.
So this is the passenger side right here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the big block flange. And they're long tube.
Man.
So there's nothing really trick about them. These flanges are a little bit thicker than normal, but you know, but anyhow, we're going to put these on. So this is the passenger side, and here's our
driver's side.
All right, so that's driver's side there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now one side, and I believe it's the driver's side, we'll have to jack the engine up to put it in. That's what I've been reading and I've been told, and we're going to find out ourselves. And we'll put it on video and we'll show everybody. But anyway, that's it.
Let me do that.
I don't know what that was. Let's try this one.
Man, that was loud.
All right. Comes with collectors. It comes with gaskets. It comes with hardware.
Sweet.
And let's, next step is let's put them on.
All right, then.
All right. First thing we'll do is we're going to take a saw and do a bunch of cutting on the old exhaust. We're not going to save it. So we're just going to hack it out of there in 2 or 3 different places and get it out of the way. And then we'll pull the exhaust manifolds out. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This piece here out.
Look at that. It's finally out.
Okay, I'm kind of hoping this piece will come out with it. We'll have to cut it one more time over on the other side. This piece out of the way. Okay, now we're going to see if we can get the exhaust manifolds off without breaking studs. Come on, let's go try that.
Alrighty then.
Alright, so these are 9/16.
Mm-hmm.
And they do like to break. And that's why I like to use a ratchet on them, because you can kind of slow the roll. feel whether it's going to break or not, and then you can try the other way and lube it up and whatever. We've already put some lube on a few of them that we could get to. Here, let me show you something, Jacob, that every time we work on these, and I always forget, always look down here, always take your, at least your ground cable off, okay? That way, if you ever touch anything like a starter wire, it won't do some welding. If the wrench touches the ground and the wire at the same time, it'll make huge sparks and burn some things up. So
Good to know.
okay, it took the stud out with it.
Yep.
All right, the reason they put studs in is because those exhaust bolt holes have coolant on the other side. So that's the reason they put studs in them. You might have one of them fortunate deals where they all come out. That'd be nice, huh?
Yeah, it would.
Go get a short extension here. Come on, you long-winded idiot.
Long-winded idiot.
Okay. Okay. All right, so all the bolts came out.
Sweet.
Some of them with studs. They had a actual bolt in there instead of a stud with a nut, and that's okay. We'll fix all that. But anyhow, this is let's see how this goes here. There's still a little bit of pipe left because we cut the flange off. And I'm looking at this thinking we might need to pull some spark plugs out. Let's see, will that come past the spark plug? It don't want to. Alright, I'm going to take these spark plugs out right here and then see if that helps. Alright, so we'll get these, there's our center 2 spark plugs out. Look at our gasket. And it had a leak in it, so we could hear that the whole time. So that explains the leak. Okay, now let's see if we can get this thing out. Now we got another problem, is that our pipe is flipped around down there in a funny direction. Let me see if I can flip it. Up on brake lines here. Let's go ahead and keep these out of the way as we're going to replace them because they're rusty. So we'll just kind of move them a little bit, see if that helps us. And it looks like we got a cable down there, something getting in our way. It's almost up. There it goes. Come on. A little bit more. Okay, come on, come on, come on. Ta-da, look at that ugly thing.
Ta-da, look at that rusty piece of crap.
Yeah. Garbaggiola.
Garbaggiola. Oh, Garbaggiola.
All right, here we go. Let's go to the other side and take those out.
Sorry, Bob. Go ahead and grab the ladder in case I need it. Bring it over
Now, I
here.
think I'm going to go ahead and take these two center spark plugs out before this time.
Alright then.
Start taking these exhaust bolts out.
Alright then.
Oh boy, that one's not nice. Oh boy. Don't break, please.
We just gotta hope it don't break.
Alright, when I get these all done, unless we have one that's going to break, we'll turn the camera back on.
Alright then.
So now, I can see if I can turn this one off now. Oh boy, that's under tight. I don't know about this one. Let me try going the other way real quick. Okay, I'm getting some movement out of it. Now, if I go just a little bit more every time and then go back, I may be able to get it to rotate out. And this is why I like to use a ratchet on these rusty exhaust bolts, because you can give it a nice little tender touch. It's turning now.
You can hear it.
Yeah, and it doesn't always mean that it's going to come off. It could break still, but in this case, I think we saved the day. So let's see what it looks like. It's just too tight to turn by hand. There it is.
Man, let's see the thing. Huh. Man, look at that.
All right, this one here is same thing, very stiff. Okay, I'm getting some movement. Okay. All right, it's going. Okay, so I had to work it gently too. And there it goes. All right. Come on, baby. Almost there. There we go. Look at that crushing thing. All right. That's the last one, so let's pull this manifold out of here.
Alright.
Okay. Let's see here. Come on, baby. Be nice to me. Out of the way, spark plug wires. I might have to get these heater hoses out of the way. Let's see how that goes. Might have to get them out of the way when we go to put the headers in. There we go. Get out of here, junk. Alright, let's take a look at this gasket. It's blown out too, so we're fixing all kinds of problems by putting these on. Look at that thing. Ugly.
Ugly.
This one's blown out too.
Wow.
How about that, huh?
Yep.
That's good stuff. Okay, now all of our studs survived on this side, didn't come out. That's good. So now, Jacob, what we're going to do is we're going to get in here and we're going to make sure that none of this gasket's left behind and it's scraped out clean.
Because what happens if we leave a piece?
Well, then we cause a leak, an exhaust leak. Now we got the exhaust manifolds are off. We didn't break any studs. We're going to have to put some back in because they came out with the nut. Now what we'll do here is, just for fun, let's see how it sounds without any exhaust on it at all. You want to hear what it sounds like? All right.
That was loud. Yeah, that's funny. Squirts the gas out all over the side.
Oh well.
Just died.
Good enough.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted to hear.
Yep.
Okay, next. All right, these have little heat shields for the spark plugs and the boots, and they got to come out of the way, and they're under 2 exhaust bolts. So you got to take those out. Or I mean, not exhaust bolts, head bolts. So you got to take those 2 head bolts out. So if you're not going to eventually rebuild the engine, like this one's going to be rebuilt, make sure you have a torque wrench so you can torque those back on. There we go. All right, next step. Okay, so here's our new headers. This is the passenger side, that's the driver's side. So we're going to do the passenger side first.
Okay.
Let's see how it just fits. Let's see how she does.
Alright then.
Okay, so we're hitting the head right here with this tube. And I mean, we just need just a teeniest amount of room to get by. So we're going to have to take the motor mount loose on this side, and we'll get the jack underneath the engine somewhere, and we'll just push it up just a little bit, and then that'll let us fall into place. But I mean, it might go if we just get a little bit. I don't think so, but it's so close. It's just right there. Wait. Oh, look at that. Look. We don't need no stinking jack. Look at that.
Fits right in there.
We're hung up on this heater hose. There we go. All right, so don't jack up the motor unless you have to. This thing, after just a little bit of wiggly whatever, it fits.
Sweet.
So we'll get that done just a little bit better here. Now, this side on the driver's side is going to take more work. All right, now this side, before we button up that side, we're going to make this side fit. I don't know if the headers are going to get in the way of moving things around. I don't think they would, but I want to make sure of that. We can all button that up together. Now, here's our nut, extended nut. I don't know if there's a specific term for that thing. And the stud is in there to keep coolant from running out. And they give you with the headers a header bolt. And so if you're going to pull all the studs and put the header bolts in, make sure you get a good thread sealer. Now here's what I use. It's the Ultra Gray Permatex.
Okay.
And that's what I use. And it works every time. Now Chevy guys know about this coolant leak thing with bolts. Because even though they sit there and say Mopars are stupid for having exhaust studs to keep them from leaking, guess what they have? Head bolts that leak. So you got to put sealer on the head bolts, or the coolant might come up past the head bolt and go down into the oil. So I got to say, I'd rather have this problem. Now, 2 of these studs came out, the 2 middle ones here. They came out, and I tried to take these out already on the other one, and I couldn't get it to budge. And I'll try something some heat or something later. But because this engine's coming out shortly after we're done with this, we're going to fit the header, see how it works. We're going to put the thermoquad on it and get it basically working. And then we're going to make a planned day to pull the engine out. So since we're only doing basically a temporary install here, we're going to go ahead and use the header bolts. And one of the bolts here, this didn't have a stud and it had a bolt in it, and it should have had a stud. And that's okay. We're not going to worry about it. The good thing is none of the studs broke off. Otherwise, we'd have to get in there and take the old broken bolt out. So that's the good thing. All right, so what I've done now is I've taken the starter out already. And we'll try to fit them in here, but I do believe we're going to have to take the motor mount bolt loose and get underneath with a jack and push the engine up a little bit to give us the clearance we need for the headers to fit. All right, so let's see how that header fits. We'll be lucky if it goes in. I'm pretty sure it won't.
Yeah, because the last one went in quite smoothly.
Now here's the thing, people hate headers because they're a pain in the butt to put in. But for the amount of performance you get, and it stays with your car the whole time, it's worth it. So if you know ahead of time what kind of job you have to do to put these things in, and you just expect to work on it, it's really not that big of a deal, I don't think. And it's going to be a hassle. We're going to find some problems, and there'll be some things that scratch your knuckles and get you mad, but that's headers. And when we get done with the headers, we'll make sure there's no leaks and things like that. That's another part of the problem people dislike about them, is they tend to leak. So far, I can't even get the collector through. So that's kind of a problem. Now, there may be other ways of doing this too, so we're just going to have to try. And I'm pretty sure we'll have to jack the engine up some to get this all to go in. I've heard of people trying to come from underneath. I don't think that's possible either. So let's just see what happens. And right now, it's just so far away from fitting. I think we're going to just go ahead and raise the engine up. Now, you want to try to come in from the bottom?
Yeah, let's try that.
You want to try it? Okay. All right, let's try that. I don't think it'll go, but we're going to see. Let's just see how close it is. Give the peoples a look. See if you can look down that way and see how it looks coming up from the bottom. Tell you what, it does look a lot closer.
Yep.
but I don't think it's going to fit. It looks like the header tube comes out way too far to go between the frame rail and the engine. Can you see that right there?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's close. It's very close. And it may be the way to go if we were to jack it up. I don't know. So let's just go ahead and take the motor mount out, and we'll try from the bottom and see what happens.
Alrighty then.
See how much. There's some big ones.
Yep.
All right.
There's some big boys for sure.
Go up a little more.
Keep going.
Yep.
Waukesha's.
It's very close that way, but I think we're going to have to go up too high. Now let me just go ahead and try from the top. I mean, we got it raised up, an inch and a half, 2 inches, something like that. Go ahead and go up a little bit more. I want to see how it's looking here. All right, that's good. Hang on. Let's try from the top. All right, now that we got it pushed up, and I kept trying to feed the header in, this tube, can you see where my finger is? This tube right here hits the frame rail. So I decided to go a different direction and try to go this way and drop it through, and it falls right down. But look what's in my way, a master cylinder. So I am going to take the master cylinder off.
Okay.
And when it gets off of there, we'll swing it out of the way and see if that gives us the room we need. And all this might be a waste of time. I don't know. But this is how we're going to learn, is by trial and error. Okay. Yeah, our master cylinder is leaking. That's what I meant by we're done. Okay, so now the master cylinder is out of the way. Let's see if this thing will fall in now.
Yep, good idea.
It's actually hitting the motor mount down here now, and that may mean that we need to take that out of the way. And you know, I don't know. Let's just see what happens. Actually, it is not hitting there. It is hitting part of the block casting. How about that? But it is very close to going in right now. Yeah, that's hitting the ear for the block casting. And it's going back too far. Maybe we should try raising it a little more. And maybe we could try back from the bottom again now that we got it raised up this high.
Yeah, maybe we could.
Let's try it.
Let's try it from the bottom. Since it can't go in from the top, let's try the bottom. Because then the casting won't have to go through there.
Well, you point up there. You up there so you can see it coming up. Okay?
Okay.
Look at that. I believe we're there, Jacob.
Sweet.
We're there.
Sweet.
Okay, so that's the way to do it right there.
Yep. Just chuck it in from the bottom.
Okay, if you're going to use the studs instead of the header bolts, you have to put the gasket on first. But if you're going to use the header bolts, then you only put the end ones on, and then you can slip your gasket in and put these 4 bolts in later. Well, we're using the studs on there's only one left here that we're going to use. And again, that's for now because this thing's coming apart in a little while anyway. Okay, so we're going to use 3 header bolts on this. The 2 middle ones and 1 back one here. This back one I won't be able to put a socket on. I'll have to put a wrench on it. Now when you tighten these up, don't over tighten them. Get them good and tight, but don't over tighten them because this flange will get warped. And so what you want to do is run the engine and get the heat in it, and then the gasket will start to get a memory in it. And when it gets its memory, then it's okay to go ahead and snug it up again and tighten it later. But don't over tighten it. We may have to loosen these back up again. You know why, Jacob?
Why?
Because we should have probably had the starter put up in there first.
Oh.
I forgot the starter.
Oh.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. The starter might fit back in its place. It just might fit.
Yeah, we'll have to find out. It's part of this whole figuring things out.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to get down there and see about the starter.
All right.
All right, Jacob. Now, when you get your header in place,
Mm-hmm.
you got to slide it forward and then stick your starter back in first. I forgot to do that. Had all the bolts tightened up, and we looked down and went, the starter. So, anyway, I had to take these bolts back off, slide the two, take it off and put it forward, and then the starter fell right into place, and I could put the header right back on where it belongs. So now it's time to go back together again. All right, so we got our starter in. We've tightened this header back up again. We put our master cylinder back on. Now you don't have to take that master cylinder off, but I'm telling you, when I do another one of these, which I probably will in the future, I'm taking that master cylinder off. That was so easy to get down there, back there by them bolts and down to the starter to tighten the wiring on the starter, getting that master cylinder out of the way. So that's the way to go. So those are done. We've got everything over here prepped already on this side. And down here we're going to reuse, once you come on around, down here we're going to, all the studs are still there and all in good shape, so we're reusing the studs. Now, since we're not using those long nuts anymore, we're using old connecting rod nuts are the same. It's a 9/16 head, 3/8 fine thread, and that's what the studs are. So let's get these tightened up and be done with this thing, and then we'll fire it up and make some noise with it, and we'll call it a day. We've got the header tightened up on this side. We've got our spark plugs and our wires on. We're going to have to reroute some of the wires of the headers. That's a normal thing. And we're going to get new wires anyway with the new engine. So we got to get some with some, put some special heat coating materials on there so it doesn't burn the wire on the header tube. So I think we're ready to start it. You want to start it? Let's go start it.
Man, that one was cool. Oh, cool beans.
Phew, that sucker stinks.
Oh.
Burning all that stuff off there, all the handprints and everything else.
Yep.
All right. So we got obviously some more things to do here, but now, Jacob, next we're going to put the thermoquad on here.
Sweet.
We're also going to put the collectors and just some short pieces of pipe with some mufflers on it, and just to get it quieted down so I can go down the street temporarily like that. And then one of the, let me just show you something here real quick. We've already done this. The collectors has a, not that one, must be this one. Yep, there it is. This collector has a bung welded into it, so we can put an air fuel ratio meter on it.
Sweet.
And we'll learn really fast what all of our jetting and things like that should be. And that's really going to help when it comes to putting an engine with some higher compression and a bigger camshaft, because that really, there's a big difference between wide open throttle and cruising down the road. And if you're cruising down the road, you cannot read your spark plugs for racing. So, and if you're racing, you want to shut the engine off and not have it idle a whole bunch on those spark plugs, so when you read them. Well, this will take care of all that. It'll tell us right away what our jetting is, and we'll know we can either increase our power valve size or what we want to do there. So anyway, that's coming up here soon. Now we will put these other mufflers on here to quiet it down, and we'll do the carburetor probably all at the same time, so then we can go for test drives and make it work. So I think we're going to call this one a good one for now. We're out of gas. We knew it was running low. It stalled a couple of times. We shot fuel down its throat and got it to go. Anyway, let's go. We'll say goodnight, say goodbye. Everybody have a good one.
All right. Like and subscribe. Go check out all of our other videos.
Yep, good idea. See you, Jacoby.
See you, Pop. Here we go. General Lee's making a new lap. He's a nice. Watch it fly. Hit the jump. Fly. Hit the jump. Oh! Is he gonna hit it again? Oh, for a second I thought it was gonna do a victory donut. Oh, it's going again. No. That's it.